I didn't know how to react. It was just past 7 p.m., and the sky outside bled into a slow-burning dusk. We'd just finished dinner. He was unusually quiet until he brought me the picture. Our home in bright orange flames, stick figures lying on the ground. One tall, one short, one crouched in a shadow. And then the words, "This is tomorrow." My son wasn't one for drama. He was thoughtful, observant, too observant. And ever since we moved into this house on the hill, he'd been different. Quieter, more withdrawn, watching the walls, listening for whispers. We weren't always in a place like this. Just 3 years ago, we were sleeping in the back of an abandoned van outside the city. I'd lost everything after the crash: money, job, reputation. I used to be someone they wrote headlines about. Now I was someone they ignored, or worse, mocked. The neighbors here were polite enough, but not subtle in their judgment. The woman across the street always looked me up and down like I was wearing shame instead of clothes. The man next door once joked that I must have won the lottery or something. They never asked where the money came from. They assumed I didn't deserve to be here. But they didn't know the truth. I had a reason for moving into this house. It wasn't just random luck or a sudden inheritance. There were things buried here, things people forgot, things I needed. That night, after I tucked my son in, I sat in the hallway staring at the drawing. The paper felt warm, almost too warm. I turned it over and noticed a smudge on the back, a dark, reddish smear, like ash or blood. By midnight, I couldn't sleep. I walked the halls of our home, every creak whispering secrets beneath the floorboards. I stopped in front of the attic door. My son had refused to go near it since we moved in, and something in my chest told me he had a reason. I opened it. Cold air poured out like a gasp from something long forgotten. The light bulb above flickered as I climbed. The attic was empty, almost. In the far corner was an old trunk. Carved into its wooden face was a strange symbol, a spiral wrapped in thorns. It wasn't the first time I'd seen it. Years ago, when I was still successful, I helped uncover the vault of a ruined estate tied to a wealthy but reclusive family. The same spiral was etched into the metal walls of that underground chamber. Inside were journals half burnt and a map that led here. The trunk creaked open, revealing a collection of items: blackened photographs, melted watches, a dusty porcelain doll, and a key. Cold, metallic, shaped like a flame. I didn't know what it opened, but I knew it mattered. I turned around and saw the drawing again. Only this time, it was pinned to the attic wall. But I had left it downstairs. My heart hammered. That's when I smelled it. Smoke. I rushed downstairs. Nothing. No flames. No heat. Just the smell. Like a warning. Like the fire was already burning in some version of our tomorrow. The next day, I tried to pretend things were normal. But the shadows in our home seemed to shift. At lunch, my son said softly, "They're coming tonight. The ones from a fire." "Who's coming?" "The strangers. The ones you said used to wear gold." He shouldn't have known that. I had never told him. Not about the vault. Not about the masked men guarding the fortune. Not about the betrayal that forced me to vanish. I never told anyone. By sundown, the air felt heavy. Thunder rolled in the distance. I checked every door, every lock, every window. And then 3 knocks. Slow. Measured. Familiar. I opened the door to find 3 people in suits. Clean, smiling. Their eyes too cold. Too still. "We heard you've done quite well for yourself," one of them said. "Mind if we come in?" I didn't answer. My hand slid behind the doorframe, fingers curling around the fire-shaped key. They underestimated me, just like everyone else had. Because what they didn't know was that I never gave up the map. I never gave up the location of the second vault. And I never stopped planning. The next few minutes were chaos. My son screamed from upstairs. One of the men stepped forward, and that's when I turned the key in the side panel of the hallway wall. A hidden mechanism clicked. The floor beneath the strangers gave way. They dropped into darkness, into the same pit the original owners had built to trap thieves during the war. I sealed it shut. But I didn't celebrate, because upstairs my son was gone. I found his drawing again, lying on his bed. Only this time there was something new, a tunnel, and a figure with no face standing at the end. I followed the map. Beneath the house, through a door sealed in stone, was a forgotten room. And there, standing beside an ancient mirror, was my son. He wasn't afraid. He turned to me and whispered, "The fire was never outside. It's in us. It's what they wanted." Behind him, I saw gold, not coins or treasure, but light, swirling, alive, waiting. He reached for my hand and I understood. The fire wasn't destruction. It was power. The next morning, the house was still standing. No fire, no bodies, just silence. And my son drawing something new, a tower, on a mountain, surrounded by mist. He looked at me, eyes calm, voice steady. "This is where we go next. If you made it this far, tell me, what would you do if your child showed you tomorrow?" This story isn't just a tale, it's a question. About the secrets we hide, the power we bury, and the price of underestimating someone just because they lost everything once. They thought I was broken. They were wrong.